Good morning. My name is Mitch Vincent, and this is today's good news. As many of you may know, I started ministry in Hawaii and lived there for about 13 years with my family. Started my family there too as well, and we didn't have a lot of money, getting started in ministry, and so we would go camping for our vacations. And I went with my little family, only had 2 kids at that time, to a beach called Ho'okena. And over in Hawaii, the beaches are wild and crazy. I mean, when you go there on vacation, you go to the nice beaches, but those are only like 20% of them. The ones where we would go, it would be off the beaten path, and man, they were wild. The ocean was roaring, and it was they had these huge rocks that would slam into the rocks. And so we were there camping, and I would get up each morning and go on a little hike, and so this morning I got up and went on a hike, and I was up on these rocks overlooking the ocean right there, and from down below I heard a and I said, "Oh no, what is that?" It like blood-curdling scream from way down below on the rocks. And so I looked, I couldn't see anything. And once again, I heard, "Ah!" And I'm like, "Oh no, there's a kid down there that's hurt or fell or something." I started running down this cliff, like running down the rocks, like I'm starting to worry and panic, thinking, what if it's one of my kids? Because I don't know if they got up and they got, went out and got pulled away in the ocean or something. They're getting slammed against the rocks. And so I said, "Where are you?" I'm yelling down there as I'm running down, and I didn't get an answer, but I hear this, "Ah!" And I was like, "Oh no, this poor little kid, he's getting slammed against the rocks," because as he'd be screaming, I'd hear a so I know that he was like getting slammed against the rocks and going under the water too. So I knew that time was. I was thinking, I was like praying as I was running down there, "Lord, I was made for this time. I was made to do this. I'm going to save this kid." And you know what? I got down there, and sure enough, it was a kid. It was a kid. It was a goat. It was a baby goat that had fallen off the cliff, and it sounded just like a person, like that. But it was. That's why when I was saying, "Hey, where are you?" it didn't answer me. It was a kid. But I was all worried, and it turns out that it wasn't a human. Thank goodness, I am an animal lover. But today we're going to be talking about worry. And Jesus is telling us not to worry. He is smack dab in the middle of the Sermon on the Mount, and he had been talking about to these people who had been trying to keep all these rules, and they'd taken the Old Testament, God's word, and they just watered it down to where it was just a bunch of rules that only the Pharisees could keep. And so Jesus is telling them, "Hey, have you been angry at your brother? You just murdered him. Have you lusted in your heart? Well, you're an adulterer then." And so then he comes up on worry, and he says, he tells us not to worry about what we're going to wear, what we're going to eat. Ladies, getting in front of the mirror and changing your outfit 3 times, which reminds me, I don't know what I'm going to wear to the Valentine's banquet tonight, but I'm not worried about it, because Jesus says in Matthew 6, verse 34, he says, "Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about its own things. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble." So what is the promise here? First of all, Jesus tells us not to worry. Why does he say that? Because he knows that we're prone to worry, that we worry a lot. And you know what? We seem to worry about things that aren't real. When the thing happens that we've been worried about, it was nothing that like we thought. We got all worked up about it, and then it wasn't even like that. And so Jesus is telling us here not to worry, because tomorrow is going to have its own trouble. That's a promise. Tomorrow you will have trouble. Jesus is shooting straight right here in the Sermon on the Mount. He's calling people murderers, and they're like, "We're not murderers." Yeah, you've hated in your heart. You're a murderer. And the thing is, Jesus tells us in another passage, "In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, for he has overcome the world. So that's what we do. Instead of worrying about things, we give our worries to Jesus. He says, cast your cares upon me. I will care for you. He doesn't say, I'll care about you. He says, I'll do the caring for you. So we need to turn our cares over to Jesus and let him care. And that's today's good news.